Welcome to another episode of Epic Gamer Dad Game Reviews. On today's review, we'll be taking a look at SouthPark 64. SouthPark was developed by Iguana Software, later to fully merge with Acclaim. SouthPark was released on December 21st, 1998. Everything was becoming SouthPark. It looked like the brand had puked on everything, from market apparel to plushies and everything you could see a South Park logo on. Seeing this explosion of South Park's popularity within its first couple years was like watching the naughty kid in school become super popular overnight. This naughty kid always testing the boundaries, it's rude, crude, and sometimes outright disgusting. The Human Centipede episode is a prime example. This show tries to find a way to push its limits in every boundary possible. This show screamed rebellion to the minds of the youth. It was everything our parents stood against and taught us not to do. So what 13-year-old wouldn't jump on this bandwagon? This game on the Nintendo 64 is no different. It is actually kind of interesting to see how well they did South Park in 3D. The grossness level of the Human Centipede extremes were not yet to this game, for this game was engineered after its first year's worth of episodes. So they used that season of episodes to create the theme that this game was generated from. I was surprised for how far Nintendo let this title go with its language. When you jump into the game, you get to choose one of the 4 main characters of the show. There are 5 chapters that are split up into episodes. At the beginning of every chapter, you are to find your friends, then go through a maze, then you go do some tank battle segments, then you eventually work your way to the end chapter boss. It gets very repetitive very quickly. The repetitiveness is worse than fighting the Flood on Halo. You know when you get to a certain point in fighting the Flood where all you're doing is running backwards and shooting? That's practically the entire experience of South Park. You spend more time running backwards than you do making forward progress. The first chapter is cake. You run through it like Rambo Gizmo on steroids. After that, the gates of stupidity are swung wide open. Every chapter is a giant leap forward in its toughness. Another explanation of this, level 1, is if you were to get in a fight with a chicken, you could get scuffed up a tad, but you have a high chance of winning. Chapter 2 is like fighting an outraged goat with a toothbrush. Chapter 3 is like fighting a mountain lion with a stick. It's manageable if you're extremely resourceful. Chapter 4 is like fighting a bear with a shovel. You can hit the damn thing 100,000 times. You might kill it. One of the breaks though is you get the chicken egg sniper rifle. We'll talk about that more later. Chapter 5 is like getting sideswiped by a rhino and you have a BB gun to defend yourself because the end boss is damn near impossible to beat. I understand the weapon placement. Snowball, dodgeball, dart gun, plunger shot. I mean, because you're a kid playing, right? But then again, I'm a Midwestern crazy kid. I always had a knife on me, and if I really needed to, I probably could get my hands on a high-powered pellet gun or at least a 22. Okay, I digress. The reason why I do this is because the weapons could have been better. Continuing on the list of insanity of your weapons. Then you get a weird chicken sniper rifle that you're actually blasting eggs out of a chicken butt, which is coincidentally the most powerful weapon in the game. There's a mind ray, a Terrence doll that explodes like a gas grenade, and that would probably be your second best weapon. Then you have the cow launcher, which is pretty much the Terrence doll, just you can shoot it further, but doesn't seem to do as much. And then you have the piranha gun. So if you haven't figured it out from my constant slamming, this game is super hard. I've only beat this game one time and it was when I was a kid and I had help from a friend. Any other time I've played the game, I usually fall into cheats, especially after the second chapter, because that's when you walk into a world of beatdown and mental abuse. This game was designed on the Turok 2 engine. You could probably tell with all the fog. This game was built within 6 months and wow. You can tell in the level design and the gameplay, Turok was 20 times the game this is. This game is another Goodwill Hunting. You can see the potential all over it, but it was smeared with Mr. Hanky one too many times, and it smells like rusty rump. What blows my mind is that Iguana Soft made cool games like Turok and Turok 2, but then they fell into the bandwagon of let's produce something as fast as we can just so we can make money, and this game is just that. At this point, I'm only doing the review because, well, it's the only game I can think of that has turkeys in it, and I'm releasing this review on Thanksgiving. The only way I would spend money on this title today is if I was going for a full Nintendo 64 library collection. Otherwise, I would explore other means to play this game, like an emulator. Emulator. The biggest hit on the game are the controls. They simply are way too damn hard to use anymore. After you spend a decade using dual joysticks and you go back to this, it's a mind warp. There are two controller modes. One is Turok, which is a Turok based controller set, and then you have the Brown Eye, which is a GoldenEye controller based setup. Compared to today's dual joystick setup, they both suck. All first person shooters from the N64 era struggle with this today. In my free time, I often drift to other forms of playing this game so I can use dual joystick configuration. The graphic and design in this game are actually kind of good up close, but then holy fog, it's junk. If Turok 64 had anything against them in that era, it would definitely be how much fog they used. The expansion pack is actually pretty useful in this game. It helps with frame rates, and it keeps the system up and bussin' pretty good, running the big old high res of 640 by 480. It's interesting how NFL Quarterback Club 98 did that without an expansion pack. I would guess that SouthPark is a little bit more of a graphically demanding game, but because of lack of design and shape, I would almost question that at this point. Or maybe they used all the space on the game for their amazing audio compilation. The sound voiceovers, sound effects, they're amazing. This is one of the things that Iguana did right in this game. It's shamefully to say this is the only good feature of the game. It really helps to make you feel like you're in South Park and that you're experiencing this little town of chaos. This game is like IHRA Pro Drag Racing. It's playable poo. If you want to go hang out in the sandbox and go find yourself some kitty cat hankies, then this game is for you. I'm gonna have to slap this bad boy with a hard 2 out of 5. And the only reason why it's not a 0.5 is because of the sound quality of this game. So if you're one of those people who's looking for some mental abuse, this is another title that you will love. As for the rest of us, be careful how you play in the sandbox. With all that being said, thank you so much for being a part of Epic GamerDad Game Reviews. Hey, be cool, subscribe to our channel, and be even cooler and check us out on Patreon. If you join us on Patreon, you'll get special stuff that you won't get here. Have a good day. God bless.